Good afternoon. My name is Teresa Daly, and I'm a counselor here at Hofstra University. I'm here to talk to you today about your first year financial aid. Some of the topics we will be covering today: financial aid programs, how and when to apply, how to view your financial aid award letter, payment options, helpful FAQs, tips and resources, and I will answer some of your questions that come up. First off, what is financial aid? Financial aid is broken down into three categories. First category, federal work study. Based on financial needs, students will apply on the FAFSA and see if they are eligible. Most jobs are worked on campus and around student class schedules. Students earn the wages. Funds are not applied to a student's billing account. There are part-time jobs or undergraduate assistantships. Valuable networking opportunities can be earned, and they will earn more than just a degree. They will earn experience. The second category is gift aid. This is separated into scholarships and grants. Scholarships can be awarded either in the institution or outside organizations. Grants can be institutional, federal Pell Grant, federal SEOG, or New York State TAP. Federal Pell Grant and federal SEOG are awarded based on your expected family contribution when you apply for FAFSA. New York State TAP is a separate application that can be applied through HESC New York. The third part of financial aid would be loans. Every student does the FAFSA eligible for their federal student loans. Either their Stafford loans for subsidized or unsubsidized. These the student can defer until 6 months after they graduate. The parent can also apply for a federal loan on behalf of the student. This would be called the Direct Parent Plus loan. This has a fixed interest rate at 7% and can also be deferred in payment until after the student graduates. The other options for loans would be alternate or private loans where there are variable rates and terms, or a home equity loan. The financial aid timeline. You should file the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, every year. It's available starting October 1st on FAFSA.gov. Another application that is done annually would be the New York State residents who file the TAP application, or Tuition Assistance Program. This is also available starting October 1st and can be applied through hesc.ny.gov. You can find out your expected family contribution by applying for the FAFSA. If the FAFSA is filed after February 1st, award letters will be available on the myhofstra.edu portal approximately 5 to 7 business days after the FAFSA is processed. Important things to remember for January, February, March, and April. First thing the student should do is view their financial aid award letter on the myhofstra.edu portal at hofstra.edu accept award. On the portal, they are able to view their entire financial aid award as well as accept and decline any type of financial aid given to them. They may also need to submit documentation for unsatisfied requirements. This can also be found on the student portal. If the student is selected for verification of income by the FAFSA processor or the university, you should submit the 2018-2019 verification worksheet, which can be found at hofstra.edu/SFS forms. You can also utilize the IRS data retrieval tool and request copies of the 2016 federal tax transcripts at www.irs.gov/transcript and submit any other income documentation that is requested. Your aid award may be adjusted based on these corrections that have been submitted. Things to remember for May. National Candidate Reply Date is May 1st. Make sure to secure your seat. Pay your enrollment and housing deposits by May 1st. Submit your housing application and sign up for orientation after you make your deposit. You can use your estimated costs to apply for loans no later than June 1st to ensure they are processed in time for bills. It is important that the student completes your Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, FERPA, authorization. This can be done at the student portal, hofstra.edu/FERPA. It is also important for the student to authorize e-bill users, sign up for the monthly payment plan, or submit the locked-in tuition plan. More information can be found at hofstra.edu/payment options. For June and August, you want to make sure that you finalize your payment arrangements. The fall bill is due August 1st. Make sure that you enroll in the monthly payment plan or request the funds from the 529 plan. These can take several weeks to disperse to the account. The student should also make sure that they complete their loan requirements at studentloans.gov. This would include entrance counseling and the master promissory note. Students can also see if they would like to subscribe to the tuition refund plan or tuition insurance. More information can be found at hofstra.edu/tuition insurance. In June and August, you should also make sure to register for classes at new student orientation. Your updated e-bills will be generated 1 to 2 weeks after registering for classes. Please make sure that you submit the final high school transcripts to the Office of Admissions. Also, if you are interested in any type of student employment or federal work study, please make sure that you fill out your resume, and you can see the listings at hofstra.edu/jobs. For payment, important dates to remember. Bill due dates. For the fall semester, bills are always due the first week of August. For the spring semester, bills are due the first week of January. You can be eligible to enroll in the monthly payment plan. There is a small enrollment fee. There are two types of payment plans that you can choose from. The first payment plan would be the annual plan. This would be 10 payments throughout the academic year. It would split up your payments, 5 payments for the fall semester and 5 payments for the spring semester, with your choice of auto debit or non-auto debit. You can also choose a term-based payment plan. This is semester by semester. 4 payments for the fall and 4 payments for the spring. This can also be an auto debit or non-auto debit option. Payment methods include payments online through the portal, can be made through a personal checking account. You can mail your payment by personal check, Bursar's office here at Hofstra. You can also pay in person here at the desk by check, money order, or cash. Please note, credit card payments are not accepted for tuition, fees, room or dining plans. 2018-2019 estimated cost of attendance. The estimated tuition and fees for this academic year is $45,700. Room and board is approximately $16,819. This is a weighted average of the room rates plus a minimum dining plan. What we bill for the year would be $62,519. Miscellaneous costs for the year, which are not direct costs but still come up, would be books, transportation, and other personal expenses. On your right-hand side is what a typical aid package looks like. Combines your scholarship, grants, and what you get from the FAFSA, whether it be Pell, TAP, or your Stafford loans. The estimated gap for students here at Hofstra is anywhere between $7,300 and $25,139. These are based on billable costs for commuter students and residents. How can families fill the gap? There are several options. The first option would be the Parent Plus loan. This is the loan that can be applied through studentloans.gov using the parent's FSA ID. This loan has a fixed 7% interest rate, and you do have the option to defer the payment until after the student graduates. You can also look at alternative loans or private loans. You can look through various lenders and see which rates work best for you. You can also enroll in the monthly payment plan and have equal installments throughout the year. You can also look at a home equity loan. You can also do a combination of the two. You can take out a loan and do the monthly payment plan. Here are some helpful links for any financial aid resources. Hofstra Aid is hofstra.edu/SFS. Any federal student aid questions would be studentaid.ed hofstra.gov. New York State financial aid resources would be hesc.ny.gov. And general financial aid information would be at fineaid.org. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you for attending the webinar today. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to call our financial aid office at 516-463-8000 or email studentfinancialservices@hofstra.edu. Some great questions here. Are there additional fees to the payment plan? As of right now, there's only an enrollment fee. We don't know what that fee is at the moment, but there is no interest, and it's a one-time fee. Tuition and fees are not guaranteed for the year. They are if you do your locked-in tuition rate. This webinar is recorded, and you will be able to see it on our Hofstra website. I have a great question here. Is the tuition always the same for 4 years? Tuition is not the same for 4 years. It does go up a little bit in payments, but you can opt for the locked-in tuition rate. The application will be online, so that way your tuition will be the same for 4 years. Another great question is, how do you lock in the tuition? Locked-in tuition applications will be available on the Hofstra website. You would apply and submit the application in order to get the locked-in rate. Another great question: are there any ways to apply for more scholarships and grants? You can absolutely apply to scholarships and grants outside of the institution. One of the best websites to use would be fastweb.com or scholarships.com. You can also look at College Board. Another great question: will the scholarship offered to student by Hofstra change in students' parents' income changes from one year to the next? Their merit-based scholarship upon admission does not change once they are in Hofstra. They must keep a minimum of 24 credits per academic year and a 3.0 GPA. They can, however, apply for outside scholarships for any additional funding. Another great question: the tuition payment plan due by August 1st. Is that just for the semester or half year? The August 1st deadline is for the fall semester only. The January deadline will be for the spring semester. Another great question regarding the payment plan. Are the payment plan payments paid throughout the semester or begin now? The payment plan opens in June. For the fall semester, it runs from June to October, and for the spring semester, November to March. Another great question. Could you change the way you pay for tuition throughout the 4 years? You can. If at first you'd like to make payments on your own, you can do that. You can always opt to take out a loan. You can always enroll in the payment plan. It does not have to be the same each year. Another great question. How does a student secure a loan on their own, in their own name? This would be their subsidized or unsubsidized Stafford loans. These are in the student's name entirely. Sometimes private lenders will allow the student to apply for a loan on their own, but if they are under the age of 24, they would need a cosigner. Another great question. Can students increase the amount of their Stafford loans? No. These are set guidelines by the federal government. Freshman students are allowed a maximum of $5,500. The Stafford loan does not need to be applied for. As long as the student files a FAFSA, they are eligible. It is typically part of the financial aid package. The student would need to complete entrance counseling and the master promissory note in order to have it dispersed to the account, as well as accept the loans on the portal. Currently, the interest rate for the Stafford loan based on the 2017-2018 numbers is 4.45%. This can change for the 18-19 academic year. Another fantastic question. Are student loans allowed to be used for housing? The student loans under the FAFSA will be applied to the tuition and fees, as well as the total bill. You can take out a separate loan to cover the gap. Another fantastic question regarding Stafford loans. Does the Stafford interest accrue during the 4 years? For the subsidized loans, no interest is accrued while the student is in school. For the unsubsidized loans, interest will accrue during the 4 years. Another question regarding loans. Can the students take out direct loans from the federal government site instead of the parents taking out PLUS loans? The students cannot take out any additional loans if they are under the age of 24 through the federal government. Another great question. If I can please repeat the websites for scholarships. Those websites would be fastweb.com, scholarships.com, and if you look on College Board as well. Are there any other questions? Okay, so one question is, what is the difference between a Stafford subsidized and unsubsidized loan? The subsidized loan will not accrue interest while the student is in school. The unsubsidized loan will accrue interest while the student is in school. Another great question, if there is a direct subsidized loan that can be up to $12,500, typically that's if the student is an independent. There are different guidelines for independent and dependent students. Currently, dependent students for freshmen, the maximum is $5,500. Another question, is it too early to apply for a direct PLUS loan? We would recommend that you apply for the PLUS loan in mid-June. That way the credit check doesn't expire. Another great question regarding 4-year fixed tuition calculated versus year by year. I will absolutely research that and I will get back to you. Another question regarding the PLUS loan, just repeating what it is. So the Direct Parent PLUS loan is a federal loan that can be applied to studentloans.gov using the parent's FSA ID. The parent would be the borrower on behalf of the student, and it has a fixed 7% interest rate, and it can also be deferred in payment as long as the student is enrolled full-time. The Parent PLUS loan will accrue interest while in deferment. Another question regarding the payment plan. The payment plan is interest-free through Hofstra. Another question regarding the Parent Plus loans. How many years do you have to repay the Parent Plus loan? That you would work out with your lender, which you can find out who that is when you log into nslds.gov. Another question regarding the Parent Plus loan. Does the student pay the Parent Plus loan or the parent? Typically, the parent pays the Parent Plus loan since they are the borrower. Another question, what is the locked-in tuition rate and why would it change? Tuition does tend to go up year to year depending on the different fees of the college, so you can lock in at a fixed rate so that way you have the same rate all 4 years. And it's nslds.gov to find out who your loan servicer is. As far as prepayment penalties for the Parent Plus loan, I believe that you can pay off the interest without any type of penalty. The locked-in tuition rate, if you go onto the Hofstra's website and type into the search bar locked-in tuition application, currently the 17-18 is up on the website. They will be changing to the 18-19 shortly. Another question regarding federal work study and how it works. So the student, while they're applying for the FAFSA, will indicate whether they are interested in federal work study. They will apply for jobs on campus through student employment. There are certain jobs that are only for federal work study students, and they will apply like they would a normal job, and they would get a paycheck as well. So another question, when you hear about students graduating with significant amount in student debt, how are they getting that? If they can only take out $5,500 in a loan. If they take anything out through private lenders with co-signers, the students would pay that back. Another question is, can students have more than one job? Yes, technically a student can have more than one job here on campus. Another question, why is the student offered a subsidized Stafford loan instead of an unsubsidized Stafford loan? They are offered either subsidized or unsubsidized loans based on the expected family contribution. So if the expected family contribution exceeds a certain number, then they will get their subsidized or unsubsidized. Another question about locked-in tuition, whether it includes room and board. It does not include room and board, just tuition and fees. Another question, can a student fit internships in addition to work study? That is up to the student. They can absolutely do an internship and work study. Another question regarding the Parent Plus loan. You said to wait until mid-June to apply for a Parent Plus loan. Is there any way to find out if you qualify and how much before committing to Hofstra at the end of this month? You do technically need to know what school you're going to when you fill out the application. The Federal Plus loan does look 6 months back into your credit, so if you have a good credit history, you are most likely going to be approved. Another question, if they are not offered a work-study job, can they still apply for a job at Hofstra? They absolutely can. We do have jobs that are not classified as work-study. They would still go to the Office of Student Employment and see the job listings. Another question regarding the subsidized and unsubsidized loans. What does it mean when you are offered both the sub and unsub loans? It just means that your expected family contribution qualified you to have a little bit of a subsidized and a little bit of the unsubsidized as well. Another question regarding the locked-in tuition rates. If it is a lock on your tuition, can you change programs or schools? You can change programs. If you change schools, obviously, if you're talking about schools like the School of Business, School of Finance, anything like that, that's fine because you're changing your major. If you're transferring to a different school entirely, you would obviously no longer be in the locked-in tuition rate. Are there any additional questions? Question, can we appeal if my student didn't get federal work study? What I would recommend is to call the Student Financial Services at 516-463-8000. Typically, the student checks it off on the FAFSA, but we can check and see. This is a great question. If a student decides not to attend Hofstra now and transfers down the road, will their grants and scholarships awarded now apply or be reevaluated? They would be reevaluated. They would be taken into account of the grades that they are getting in the current college that they would be attending. Oh, the phone number, to repeat the phone number to the Hofstra Student Financial Services line is 516-463-8000. Yes. So to repeat my answer to the question for federal work study, we can check and see. I would recommend that you call Student Financial Services. Typically, the student does check off on the FAFSA whether they're interested, so we can see if they're eligible. Another question, does everyone who opts for locked-in tuition get it? Typically, yes. If you choose to do the locked-in tuition rate, you will get it. The locked-in tuition rate for this year, I believe, is estimated cost of $54,000. Another question regarding the locked-in tuition rate. Is there a reason why someone wouldn't opt for the locked-in tuition rate? It depends. The locked-in tuition rate will start off a little bit higher than tuition is right now, but you'll remain consistent. Tuition does go up each year, so you may benefit by doing locked-in tuition rate over time. What is the locked-in tuition rate is the question again. Right now, the locked-in tuition rate, I believe, is an estimate 54,000. So like I said before, the locked-in tuition rate is a little bit higher than your tuition rate here. We're still finalizing those rates, but it's always going to be a little bit higher than the tuition is now. Tuition will gradually go up each year. So if you take 54,000 and you keep that over the same 4 years, you may end up saving more. Another question, if you have special circumstances since applying for financial aid, can it be reevaluated? There are very extenuating circumstances for financial aid packages to be reevaluated, such as job loss. You can actually take a look at the qualifying circumstances on our website for the dependent reevaluations. Can you apply for the locked-in tuition rate at any time during the 4 years? Does it have to be in the freshman year? It does have to be in the freshman year. Yes, that does include the fees for locked-in tuition rate. Like I said, that is an estimate. It's not finalized just yet. I can definitely check on that for you. Is there a place to find historical tuition rates? If you go on the Hofstra website, and go under tuition and fees, they may have the academic costs for the past semesters. When will the locked-in tuition rate be finalized for fall students? Probably within the next 2 weeks or so. Question regarding federal work study. What is the hourly rate for the typical work study jobs? That I'm actually unsure of. You would have to contact the Office of Student Employment. Are there any additional questions? The tuition for the next school year is $45,700. Sorry, it cut out a little bit. $45,700. A question regarding, I believe, the portal. How does the website work? Parent logs in or child. There is a parent portal and a student portal. The student would have to make you an authorized user. How the student adds a parent as an authorized user. If they go onto the student portal, there's a how-to on how to add authorized users. It should be on the first page, and they can add any parent that they'd like so they can have access to the account. The student portal is myhofstra.edu. That would be the login for the student portal, where the student logs in with their H700 number and their password. Yes, and for the loan servicer, the website is www.nslcs.ed.gov. Right now, your student wouldn't have any loan servicers at the moment since they currently haven't taken any loans out if they're an incoming freshman. Once they take loans out, they'll be able to set up and see using, I believe, their FSA ID to log in. Correct. A question, so is the website NSLDS just for the student to see their loans? Yes, that would be where they can see who their loan servicers are. Another question, can a person end up paying more with the locked-in tuition rate? It's possible. There's no way of knowing right now because we don't know how much tuition is to go up, but it is possible. Another question, where do we apply for the Stafford loan? The Stafford loan, as long as the student has filed the FAFSA for the 18-19 academic year, they should have their student loan qualifications. It's not something that they need to apply for separately. They will need to, however, complete loan requirements. That would be logging on to studentloans.gov with their FSA ID and completing the entrance counseling and master promissory note for the Stafford unsubsidized and subsidized loans. Another question, if they are in the LEAP program, you can't lock in tuition. That is correct. There are certain programs where you cannot lock into tuition. Another great question, can Parent Plus loans be transferred to the student after graduation? I'm not sure, but I would be happy to find out the answer for you. Another question, which loan is the one that's in the student's name? That would be the Stafford subsidized and unsubsidized loans, as well as any loans that are taken out through a private lender in the student's name with a cosigner. A question regarding credits. Do you accept credit from students who take courses at Nassau Community College? We do have credits that will transfer over from college. That would be a question for academic advising as to what credits will transfer. A question, do we charge an out-of-state fee? We do not. Our tuition and fees and room and board are the same for all students, whether in-state or out-of-state. Another question regarding Stafford loans. Could the student pay the Stafford loan during the 4 years if they have the funds? That would be something you would have to work out with the loan provider. Question regarding AP classes. Do you get credit for classes scoring a 3? That would be another question for academic advising. Another question, what are college saving plans? College saving plans would be also what's known as the 529 plan. It's something that you can take out or save on the student's behalf to help pay for college. Thank you so much for all of your questions. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to email us at studentfinancialservices@hofstra.edu or call at 516-463-8000. Have a great night.